wanted to have you here. You do such wonderful work, and these dolls are amazing. The transformation is amazing. Tell us, how did you get started, and how long have you been doing this?
It's been roughly 18 years since I first started, and this was in 2001. And the way this happened was I was just randomly searching online on eBay, and I was looking for a doll to give to my wife because she's a doll collector. And then I happened upon this very intricately painted doll. It's just a generic doll. It's not even a doll of a celebrity or anything like that. And then I noticed that the painting was more special and more unique than usual. Like we think of dolls as just playthings. But this one had some kind of character and emotion and expression. And I was intrigued by it. As a portrait artist, I was always fascinated about the human face. And growing up, I've always been just into painting different faces. And seeing this, it sort of clicked in my mind that maybe I could start doing this. Maybe I could use the doll's face as a canvas.
And this transformation for the dolls, it's a meticulous process. From getting the dolls, repainting their faces, to their hair, and all those things, right? The costume, you have to get it right. So tell us how that works.
Well, the process, and I've been already dabbling with hairstyling ever since my wife started collecting. I used to get bothered by the big Barbie hair, you know, so I started experimenting with that. And then, but the process is, you know, because you're working on a very tiny canvas, which is the doll's face. And to be able to paint with exacting a process and procedure, you have to understand your canvas, and to be able to, and on top of that, you want to be able to replicate faithfully the likeness of the people you're actually copying. And so the process is very time-consuming.
How long does it take?
It takes anywhere from 3 days to a week, just depending on the details.
And your dolls don't come cheap. I understand that they bid on eBay, and it starts at $200.
Yes.
And the most expensive, you told me, was $6,000, a whopping $6,000.
Right.
What was so special about that doll? Tell us about that.
This doll is actually one of the characters from the original Charlie's Angels show from 1970s. And for some reason, this particular character, played by Kate Jackson, has so much following. And somehow, for the doll collectors, because there's never been really a proper doll that was made of her.
Is this the doll that we're looking at?
That's her right there, yes. That's Kate Jackson, and that's, you know, and this was the original, the before. And people...
So the highest bidder was a doll collector or a Kate Jackson fan? Or a Charlie's Angels fan?
He was both.
Okay.
Yeah, he was both. He was both a doll collector and a very die-hard Charlie's Angels fan. You know.
Well, tell us about these dolls that you brought with you here in the studio. Some of these dolls are Pinoy celebrities.
Right.
The most famous, you have Miss Universe, Pia Wurtzbach, and Catriona Gray. Can we zoom in on their faces? It looks exactly like them.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's all about understanding the sculpt, the head sculpt that you use, and to know beforehand that that specific sculpt would work for a specific celebrity. So, for instance, in the case of Pia Wurtzbach or Catriona Gray, it's the facial structure. You have to have the basic facial structure. And then from then on, as an artist, you just sort of have to project.
Is it a big community here?
It is large. It is huge. Yes. And I was actually shocked at how evolved the doll community is. It's so evolved that it's even at par with the American collecting community. And before the last time I was here, there wasn't social media yet. There wasn't all that. So coming back here, you know, you realize the scope and the magnitude of collectors and how they are so serious about the craft and about the hobby of collecting.
Before we let you go, let's talk about one very special doll that you brought with you.
Okay.
It's a touching story that you told me earlier. This is your mom.
Yes.
And then you bring her everywhere.
Yes, I bring her everywhere. I lost my mom over 30 years ago. And it was a heart-wrenching loss. I was only 20 years old when she passed, and I was sort of like a mama's boy growing up, and we were all boys. So she was the only girl in the family. She was the only female in the family. And so when I became an artist, the first thing I did was make a doll of my mom.
And it's amazing how far you've come. You're quite the celebrity nowadays.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Noel Cruz.
Thank you, Mai.
For those interested in Noel's dolls, you can connect with him on Facebook and Instagram.